When hope is gone, undo this lock and send me forth on a moonlit walk. Release restraint level 0. Hey kids, wanna see a dead body?
Hi guys, this is the Void of the Ravenclaw. Welcome back to another fanfiction story. If you like this type of content, smash the like button and subscribe for future videos and updates that I do post on my community tab frequently. Want to get access to any of my early content? Check out the Discord. I haven't posted stuff on there. I will eventually, but for right now, it's whatever. This is the bargain between an evil god and a villain. Part 22. Once Izuku got the okay to move from his position from Scarlet, he jumped down and ran down the wall of the building, moving fast. He entered the warehouse boundaries in mere seconds. And ran around the boundaries of the building in mere seconds. Ran around the building in mere seconds to the warehouse and rip off the lid off of the ventilation shaft. After he tossed the lid, flying out of the boundaries of the warehouse, and took the ventilation shaft that he located during his intel on the footage from his flying robotic wasps, and threw himself into the vent. Future note, regulate my physical strength more. As he shrugged off how far he threw the lid to the ventilation shaft, and dove in just in time for the patrol to walk around the side of the warehouse where he was. Scarlet, this is Grim. I'm in. Copy that, boss. There's movement inside, so be careful, sir. Got it, Scarlet. Izuku began to navigate the ventilation shaft, or the ventilation system. The first opening he saw, he kicked the door open and leaped out of the vent, landing into one of the storage rooms of the warehouse. Izuku created several miniature blaster skulls about the size of a quarter and had them go into the ventilation shaft. It took him mere seconds to get the images from his blaster skulls. You find the whole process of locating all of the major threats on this level. Once he found out the coast was clear, he exited the storage room. He's in. The moment he exited out of the storage room, he found himself in a hallway. He noticed this warehouse is some sort of, from the footage, found himself in a built-in office area of the warehouse that made inside. Izuku grabbed the hilt of his combat knife and slowly pulled it out as he stealthily moved through the hallways and looking over each corner before he proceeds. Izuku is fully aware the warehouse is just the front for whatever nasty experiments they've been doing underground. From the footage from the robotic wasp scouts he sent out prior to his infiltration. He's going to have to take an elevator to gain access to the monster factory. Izuku starts to approach the local security of the warehouse and snuck behind him and covered his mouth with his hand, then stabbed the combat knife into his throat, then dragged the body into the empty room. Izuku continued to travel through the ground level of the warehouse, eliminating any security guard that crossed his path. They're just normal security. He knows they probably don't know they're working for the League. He doesn't need to kill all of them. He could guarantee majority of them are unaware. They're guarding a place for the League of Villains. They're all going to die anyways. What he has planned to do to this place. But he can't do anything until he gets his intel. At least Izuku's given them an opportunity to escape once the fun starts happening. He approached another corner and threw his combat knife at a approaching security guard. Before the security guard could raise up his weapon, Izuku appeared right in front of the falling dead security guard and yanked his combat knife out of his skull and sliced the throat of the secondary security guard, killing him as well. Izuku walked past the security guard that had his throat slit as blood gashed from his neck as he tried to stop the bleeding by putting his hand over his neck where it's been sliced. It was already too late for him. He was already losing too much blood, falling unconscious, slowly dying. Izuku did not turn around. He continued walking forward, killing any security guard he come across. Then finally opened the secret entrance, revealing the elevator behind a false wall as he forcefully opened the elevator door with his bare hands. Scarlet, I'm at the elevator. Copy that, sir. Careful moving forward. What I could see of this monster factory. It's huge. I only saw a portion of the facility. And this entire facility is patrolled by hired guns and low-tier villains. Izuku had a vicious smirk on his face. Thank you for the intel. I could always use a good workout. I'm going radio silent until I acquire the data. Got it, sir. Izuku shut off his communicator in his ear and pressed the button to make the elevator to descend downwards. Throwing a bone dagger at the camera hanging in the corner of the elevator, destroying it before he captured any footage of him. Okay, I'm in a secretive monster factory, most likely filled with dozens of armed guards and villains. And there's probably several of those creatures that are probably going to get sent out the moment I'm discovered. Izuku closed his eyes as the elevator continues to descend downwards. When the door finally opened and Izuku stepped out of the elevator, he immediately activated his turbo mode as the crystal could be seen in the opening of a crystal shape of his bone skull mask in the shape of a crystal. Izuku rushed forward, piercing the first person he saw, by slamming his fist into his chest, pulling out his heart, then immediately lunging at his next victim, chopping off his head with his combat knife, then using his free hand to blast a high condensed beam of green energy out of the palm of his hand as multiple Gaster blasters materialize about the size about the size of a small dog, hover in the air and immediately to shoot out a barrage of green energy out of their mouths. You know what to do. Move forward and kill everything. As the Gaster Blasters move forward, going further into the complex, and begin to eliminate all the hostiles. With Izuku's blaster skulls taking the right and left path, leaving Izuku the middle path to venture forward. He wastes no time, made his way towards the hallway opening right in the middle. It didn't take him long to find resistance. Izuku found himself facing several of higher guns, form into a squad in the middle of the hallway, pointing their rifles at him in a military formation. Izuku could tell by their posture. They know what they're doing. Their formation is clearly military, most likely ex-military, trying to earn some extra money. But that did not matter to him in the slightest. He simply released a burst of green energy from his hands, engulfing the entire hallway. When the light receded, there was nothing there but burnt and melted metal and burned scars on the walls, ceiling, and floor of the hallway. He moved forward, not bothered one bit. Izuku finally arrived at the end of the hallway and walked into a large chamber. It was a singular figure in the middle of the room, a low-end Nomu by the looks of it. So you must be the one responsible for causing so much havoc here. Pretty ballsy of you to infiltrate and attack one of the League's Nomu factories. But I gotta admit, I like your style. Interesting, and who are you supposed to be? Clearly a member of the League. Not like the Grunts. I believe you probably hold a higher standing in your little group. Insightful little fucker, aren't you? But to answer your question, yes. Let's just say But to answer your question, yes. You may consider me a higher member of the League. I go by Dobby. I got things to do, but don't worry, my friend here will keep you company. Nomu, kill him. As Dobby left the room and left the experimental chamber for testing out Nomus to keep the League up to date on the current situation. The Nomu immediately rushed forward. Izuku caught the Nomu's fist and kicked the Nomu away. Izuku flash stepped right in front of the creature and grabbed him by the face and slammed him against the wall. Then he tore off the head, crushing the skull in his hands, then vaporizing the rest of the body with his green energy blast from his palms. The moment he killed the creature and destroying what's left of the head, it didn't take long for the entire chamber to be filled up with the private security guards, all aiming their weapons at him and immediately opening fire. Izuku, with his overcharge coursing through his body, he immediately begins to dodge the rapid fire, gunfire, from their rifles. Utilizing flash step, appearing and disappearing all over the huge testing room. Izuku started to appear and disappear, using his finger in a gun gesture, to blast energy out of his fingertips in a beam of energy, gunning down the ex-military force. Each time he would reappear, then disappear. One of their team members would die. Their numbers were effectually being gunned down with his energy bullets. He charged forward in the surviving group in hand-to-hand combat, despite the security force military background and very advanced military-grade weaponry. They couldn't stand a chance, not one bit. None of their corps had any offensive capabilities. None of the security force activated. One of the security force activated his barrier cork, only for Izuku to shatter it with a singular blast right through the man's heart with a energy bullet from his fingertip. It only took him a couple of seconds to massacre the rest of them until he was the only one left in the room, alive. Dead bodies decorated the floor all over the room. The scars of the signs of battle scattered, signs all over the room from the wall to the floor. Izuku left the room, continuing forward in his mission. Dabi was in a safe location in the Nomu factory, watching the footage of Grim slaughtering the security force and Nomu. Dabi was already in process to beginning to withdraw direct orders from All for One. He doesn't know why the boss wants him to withdraw, but he knows not to fight the orders. He's not stupid. He's seen what happens when someone tries to defy All for One. They always end up dead. And he very much liked living. Izuku continued by walking into another wide hallway. Then he felt it, one of his blaster skulls being destroyed. He wasn't too surprised. A well-organized attack could easily take out one of his blaster skulls. It was to be expected by the military training of the security in this monster factory. So he paid it no mind and continued forward until he entered a similar chamber, the same chamber from the footage from his robotic wasp that he recorded. Several dozens of rows of high-tech pods filled with dead bodies beginning to stored and prepare to go through the process of becoming a Nomu. Izuku leaped forward, smashing right through the observing window of the observing deck on the top floor, walking on glass as he landed towards the central database. He inserted a custom flash drive that he designed himself. The moment he connected to the main computer, it immediately begins to download files and data and anything useful. The moment he finished downloading everything, the alarms start to go off all over the factory. Fully created Nomu start to exit the pods like they've been ordered by an unseen force. Izuku immediately opened a shadow portal and stepping through and reappearing several blocks away. Well, not several blocks, outside of a large skyscraper. Large building, basically. On the top of the largest building around the area, on the roof, with his hands in his pockets. Then he took out a singular hand out of his jacket pocket and snapped his finger as the biggest blaster biggest blaster skull he's ever created begin to form in the sky, about the size of a blaster skull. It was about the size of a large building, casting a large shadow over the warehouse. The blaster skull mouth open right above the warehouse and begin to charge up very powerful and big condensed beam of energy in his mouth. Then Izuku said a singular word: unleash havoc upon the factory. Fire. With that simple command, it unleashed its beam of energy, engulfing the entire warehouse. The payment was engulfed and began to dig further, going deeper underground. When the energy finally detonated, when it made contact with the factory underneath, there's a bright flash that blinded everyone nearby. There was a medium-sized crater. Several buildings were hit by the aftermath of the energy explosion. Izuku used his portal to travel back to his base of operation, as Scarlet was waiting for his return. Her concerned face turned into a relaxed one when she saw the portal and Izuku stepping through it. Good, it seems from your attack you haven't been injured, boss. Nothing of the sort. As Izuku deactivated his turbo mode, as the green crystal receded, disappearing into his forehead. Your little stunt has already made the news. Seriously? Already? As he turned on the television to the first news channel that's being broadcast, he saw footage of the helicopters hovering over what used to be the League of Villains' little monster factory. Pro heroes were already on scene, investigating the area, alongside with the Quark Suppress Force. Even All Might was there. Well, that's fascinating. Even the #1 hero from Japan came to witness my little demonstration. How absolutely fascinating. All Might? Who the hell is that? That, my dear, is the #1 hero from Japan himself. I didn't know he was still in the country. I figured he would have gone back to Japan already. He's been working with that hero, Impulse. Her blank face turned into a frown. Impulse. With a frown on her face. Clearly, she doesn't like the guy. I take it you know that hero? I know that cocky bastard always getting in my way. I very much like to separate his head from his neck. That could always be arranged. As he turned his attention back to the screen, watching his blaster skull still dissipating in the sky. So what's your next move, boss? That's a good question. We could continuously hit the League of Villains operations, but considering All Might is there in the safety committee, this gives me a good opportunity to gauge his capabilities. After all, I can't miss the chance to gauge the #1 hero from Japan when he so graciously presented himself to me. Like this. Like, get some rest, dear. We're going to be quite busy tomorrow. You're going after him, aren't you? Oh, dear, no. I perish the thought. I won't go personally, but I don't need to face him personally to gauge his capabilities. I'll let the robot do the work. Of course, I haven't made it yet, but we'll deal with that tomorrow. We're going to be hitting a lot of high-tech corporations or warehouses that focus on developing high-tech technology. Then I'm going to curate something that will challenge this #1 hero All Might long enough to get data to scan his capabilities. After all, the heroes are still a threat, as much as the League and the Cork Suppress Force. Speaking of the League, what about them? I'll leave them be for now. Tonight, I proved that I could hurt them. Their monster factory has been utterly destroyed, scattered to the wind. The next morning, Izuku and Scarlet was studying the map of the entire city. They had pins onto the map that pinned to the wall of different color pins signifying certain locations, displayed different high-tech targets they could target. Corporation warehouses, storage rooms, stuff like that. So which one do we target first? According to the marker on the map, this is our closest target, a warehouse, where they store their back catalog of different type of technology parts. According to what I managed to gather from hacking into their mainframe. Did you manage to acquire a list of their back catalog? Everything's here, sir. As she handed over the sheet of paper that was printed on, filled with all their back catalog of different merchandise or technology. Excellent work. This will do nicely. Izuku pressed the button on his high-tech bracelet around his wrist and activated his robotic wasp and sent them out to scout the warehouse. Scarlet could see the live footage from the monitor on the wall. Izuku robotic wasps flew around the warehouse a few times, identifying only a couple guards outside. Then the robotic wasp gained entry to the interior of the warehouse. There were several large crates on metal shelves scattered all around the warehouse, filled with different type of technology. It looks like they only have a few guards outside and inside the warehouse. This will be a simple job, and we could get what we need in one heist. We will act later tonight. I figure you need some fresh air being cooped up here for so long. Good, cause I was... Give me a second, guys. Good, cause I wasn't liking just standing here doing nothing while you have all the fun, boss. But I know why you did it. You wanted to see me, how you operate. Exactly. And I also did need your eyes on that operation while I was infiltrating. That had multiple uses, my dear. But for now, let's go grab a bite to eat. Izuku went into his office to change into his civilian clothes. Both Izuku and Scarlet left through the front entrance instead of using a portal. Before I forget, here, as he handed over a bone mask, I figured you might need this moving forward if we're going to be working together for a while. Is it help from the heroes pinpointing your actual identity. Got it, boss. Thanks. As she placed the bone mask in her coat. After they got a quiet bite to eat at a local burger joint, they eventually made their way back to the headquarters to wait. Izuku left to his office to get ready. A few minutes later, he walked out, placing his bone mask over his face. So did Scarlet, placing the bone mask over her face. She found it is not moving. It will be knocked off by accident. She doesn't know how he does it, but it works. She could tell there's technology into the mask itself, so she's not complaining. She figured the technology is why it stays on her face. She could take it off by herself, but it won't fall off when she's on the field. You ready to leave? All geared up, sir. Izuku activated his portal as they both stepped through it, appearing somewhere in the city, in an alleyway. Scarlet extended her shadow and engulfing the both of them, activating her shadow walk. The experience traveling through the shadows in this method was quite similar to his shadow portal. It only lasted milliseconds, then he appeared out of a nearby shadow, mere blocks away from the warehouse that they're going to hit. According to the map of the city, we're a couple minutes away from approaching to the warehouse from this alleyway. Roger that. They easily begin to rush through the alleyway in fast and steady pace, getting to the location in mere minutes as they approach the warehouse. Let's do this clean. No killing this time around, unfortunately. Last thing we need is to leave bodies for the heroes to track us down, or the safety committee, or the Cork Suppress Force. Got it. I'll restrain myself, boss. Izu gave a single nod in acknowledgement and moved forward. Scarlet moved fast, using the shadows to dive into them, then reappearing right behind one of the guards on patrol outside of the warehouse. As she put the guard to sleep using a pressure point, then she caught the fallen body and laid it to the side on the wall. While Izuku karate chopped one of the other security guards in the back of the neck, knocking him out. As he caught the body and leaned it against the wall of the building. Once all the guards were outside were pacified, they made their way inside. The moment they stepped inside, Izuku threw a small round electric grenade. As a small group of security guards happened to be in the entry area of the warehouse, were immediately all electrocuted. As the group of security guards dropped to the ground, unconscious, Izuku immediately began to use his shadow portals underneath all the crates, one by one. Scarlet chose to stand guard in case they miss any of the security, while her boss continued to steal more of the crates filled with technology. Izuku created several shadow portals all at once to get the rest of the crates all in one go. Izuku has never used the shadow portal so much in a large amount before. It took a lot out of him, but he refused to show any weakness. Let's go. They both disappeared into a shadow portal. Izuku immediately began to move the crates to the storage area of the base. Scarlet started to help and check the crates that have been moved, see if there's any hidden devices that might be a tracking device, just to be safe. It took the two of them the majority of the night to get all the crates moved and checked for any tracking devices. They found none. This is a lot of hardware. Whatever you can do with the extra technology, we'll use what we can, and the rest will be stored and sold off. Technology like this can be quite profitable if you know where to look. Now the question is what, my dear? What are we going to create? You want me to help with that? Naturally, you're quite knowledgeable about robotics. Combining both of our knowledge, I think we could come up with something with stopping power. Adequate. You're on. They both begin to make blueprints of different types of robots, from humanoid robots to animals, on the holographic display in his laboratory that's in his home base. They ultimately decide on a combination effort of a humanoid combat robot in the image of All Might himself, designing it after the #1 hero. What do we call this thing, boss? Let's just call it for Death Might. It has a ring to it. And that's where we're going to stop it. I'll catch you guys in the next part.